wasting money on cures. Forgot how to fix myself. They say that time is free. Then why is it so precious? Oh, I'll say memories in my head, like Polaroids on walls. They remind you to look ahead. Time is running out. Time is running out. Lately I've lost my track. I've sailed the deepest seas, hoping to find something to bring back better times. Oh, I'll say memories in my head, like Polaroids on walls. They remind you to look ahead. But time is running out. Time is running out. Time is running out. Time is running out. Time is running. Time is running out. Time is running out. What if my best days are over? They can't be over. They can't be over now. Time is running out. What if my best days are over? They can't be over now. Time is running out. Time is running out. Time is running out.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's 12 o'clock. It's just ticked over to noon, 12 o'clock in the UK, and I'm joined by Graham for a short live stream revising for Edexcel A-level business. I know we've got a number of students in the live chat who are also maybe joining us just for a bit of cheeky revision, who are doing AQA session at 1:30. How you doing, G? Good afternoon to you.
Yeah, I'm really good. Are you okay, Jim?
Yeah, this is live stream number 997. And the breaking news, politics will be the 1000 tomorrow. The breaking news is that Lauren has finally made it to a live. She's quite excited in the live chat.
That's good. That's good news.
Where have you been, Lauren, for the previous 996? But welcome. You're more than welcome. And welcome to everybody who's joining us live. Just cheeky bit of just a basic revision, Graham, and then we're going to do just a quick reminder, top tips on what to expect in terms of paper 2.
Really quick.
So let's make a start with the big reveal. As people are joining us, we've got about 250 people live at the minute. So big reveal. Normally we make it to about clue 3. I'm not sure we're going to get beyond clue 2 today. I think the AQA one is really hard, but this one's a bit easier. Founded in 1884. So I know what you're thinking, Graham. Go on.
Well, if you're sat there thinking, well, I know a business that was founded. I can't do it anymore. 1883. Well, it's not this one, is it? Because this was founded in 1884. Yeah.
But it's been around a while, hasn't it? I think that's the point.
Yeah. It's not Tesco's. Clue number 2. It's definitely not Newcastle United. I mean, he only became famous when the Saudis took over, didn't he? Originally a partnership. Now, that's a partnership.
Didn't take long, did it, for the correct answers to start appearing?
Not really. We need to. I might be just guessing. Jim. Let's keep going. The first location is
that's the giveaway.
First location in Leeds.
It was a penny store, wasn't it? Leeds Market.
It was a penny store. Yeah, in Leeds. Yeah.
Loads of people have got it. So let's just go through the clues. It's currently got
Yeah.
around. It's a very precise number you put together, Graham. Around 1,158. Are you sure it's not 1,159?
Not according to Google.
Okay. And lastly, hit by a massive cyber attack
That wasn't a
5
clue.
or 6 years ago.
That wasn't a clue I wrote this morning, but it's suddenly being changed by someone.
I thought I'd bring this story up to date.
Yeah.
A huge issue.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
M&S have just announced today that they've lost about £200 million of sales.
Yeah, if we couldn't make it any easier, let's put a clue that makes it really easy.
Your
Good
clue
stuff.
was it rhymes with Parks and Benser.
Well, yeah. Graham was
Great.
at the
A
first
question
store.
coming through from Bertie. Were you at the first store?
Aware, man. Anyway.
Okay, good stuff. Anyway, look, it's a bit of light-hearted, hopefully useful revision. Don't forget, before we get going, we've been doing lots of live streams over the last 5 or 6 weeks, including some deep dives on things like PED and YED and investment appraisal and critical path analysis and all that kind of stuff. So please, if you've got a bit of time this afternoon or this evening and you want to work through those, do go to the archive. Everything is free and recorded on the Choose to Do YouTube channel. Right, should we go through these? Let's start. I'll start with this one. So obviously you don't get any MCQs in Edexcel, but this is a good way for us to test some Theme 2 and Theme 3 knowledge. So which one of those statements, and only one of them, is false? It's either A, B, C, or D. So is the acid test, current assets less inventory divided by current liabilities, is that false? Or could it be, well, I'll let you read the others. Only one of those is false. What do we think it is?
Yeah.
Most people in the live chat, so well done for having a go. You don't have to have a go, but it's always good to see what the answers are as you're sat there revising. Most people are going for B. Let's have a look. Yeah, it is B. So working capital, an important concept in terms of business finance, liquidity. It's current assets less current liabilities. So current assets that we can turn into cash or cash. Current liabilities, assets, liabilities that we owe, we have to pay within 12 months. So not non-current liabilities. All the others are true, aren't they, G?
They are all true, yeah. So diversification, sometimes students get confused between diversification and differentiation, but not in this case. It is,
No?
it
Off
is.
to a flyer.
We are indeed. So let's look at the next one. So the correct formula to calculate return on capital employed, operating profit divided by capital employed times 100. Operating profit divided by capital employed. You can see the rest. Jim, I think it's definitely got something to do with capital employed and operating profit. I think that's got something to do with it.
Can't argue with that.
Yeah, it was examined last year, but you know what? Private limited companies were examined last year and also appeared on paper one this year. So just because it came up last year doesn't mean it won't come again this year. It just doesn't work like that. Know your stuff.
Should we have a look at the answer?
Yes, please. Great stuff. So for a bonus point here, Jim, I'm going to freestyle here. Anyone want to type in the chat window how we work out capital employed? Because that's been examined for a few years now. And there we go, Finley McNaughton. So yes, Finley, well done. Now last year on paper 2, the examiner used shareholders' funds instead of total equity.
Yep.
Are the same, so just use
Same
those. The same thing. Well done, everyone. Oh, Gaming Star's back. I'm not seeing Gaming Star for a few. Unless I've missed Gaming Star, but Gaming Star's back. That's great news.
All is good.
Well
if
done.
that's the case.
Well done, everyone. So, do you want me to do this one, Jim?
No, I'll do this one. That's fine. Yeah. So we've got some data in a table. Graham and I love tables, particularly tables with data in them. And so we've got some information from 2023, and then more recently 2024. Some data in relation to output of the business in units, thousands of units, the number of employees, and the rate of labour turnover. And based on that data, you need to decide whether each of statement 1 and 2 is either true or false. So have a go.
Yeah.
So did labour productivity increase in 2024? It may have gone down. Is that true? And did the business increase labour retention in 2024?
Yeah, 2 difficult questions there.
Lauren has made it to her live, but unfortunately her keyboard has probably got some chocolate or coffee or something stuck to it because it's she's put B about 17 times. Either that or she thinks it's definitely B. Should we have a look at the answer? Reanimator, giving us some workings and explanation because the answer is indeed B. Let's go through it. So we calculate labour productivity. Labour productivity, the formula is output divided by number of employees. And that's a measure of how many units over a particular period, in this case a year, each employee makes or is associated with. So it's a classic measure of productivity. And if we divided 1.020 million or 1,020,000 divided by 60, I think that came out at 17,000 units per person. But in 2024, that had got up to 19,000 units per person, so per employee. So productivity had increased by 2,000 units per person. Now, labour turnover, that's a measure of the percentage of people who leave the business in a given period. So in 2024, 15% of the people who were in the business at the start left. That's an increase on last year. Therefore, the percentage of people retained must have fallen. So therefore, statement 2 is false.
Indeed. Great stuff.
Here's our next one, G.
Yeah, so a mission statement outlines why a business exists and its overall purpose. That was examined last year because it's still coming this year. Cost leadership is an element of Porter's strategic or generic strategy. Strategic matrix, generic strategies. Are those true? Are those false? So me, anything from theme 2 or 3 can come up.
Yeah.
We can't predict. So
we don't
are those true or
we don't
false?
do predictions. Yeah.
So lots going for A. Cost leadership is an element of Porter's strategic matrix. I'm going to do a little bit on cost leadership in a second after this.
Okay.
So I think everyone's not everyone's. There's a few B's there. Could be B, could be A, could be C, could be D. We don't know, do we? We do not know. Archie Gubb there with lots of different cost focus, cost leadership, differentiation focus, differentiation leadership.
So Archie and Finley are on fire. They're well set for tomorrow, I think.
Yeah, sprinklers might go off. So shall I have a look at the answer?
Yeah, okay. Let's put the answer on.
Yeah, both of those are true. Now, in terms of cost leadership, so this was examined. It's been examined a few times. And Jim, a lot of students use the word cost and price interchangeably. So I think in paper 3 a few years ago, there was a question on should car manufacturers focus on differentiation or cost leadership? Some students thought cost leadership was price leadership.
Yeah.
And it isn't, and therefore lost a lot of marks. Make sure you know the difference between price and cost. Good stuff.
Yep. A very important model and very closely linked to concepts such as economies of scale, isn't it? Mass markets, economies of scale.
Shanus, it is exactly the same.
Yeah.
Different language depending on your exam board.
There are two models for Porter. There's the generic strategy model, or strategic matrix as it's otherwise known, and there's Porter's 5 forces, which is a different model.
Yeah, Twan, you don't need to put your hand up. If you need to go to the toilet, just go. you don't need to put your hand up. We're not in a lesson.
Now, 2 more statements for you on 2 different topics here. Statement 1, is this true? Acquiring a business in the same industry, but at a different stage of the supply chain, is that known as vertical integration?
Oh, tough one.
And statement 2, is the sale of assets a method of external finance? What do we think?
Tough question.
Not trying to spook people with these questions, but we're trying to cover quite a lot of different topic areas from themes 2 and 3, just to help refresh. Maybe you've not revised some or any of these for a few days or maybe a bit longer. So hopefully it's useful. Tasha, Lottie, and lots of others, Maddie, are all going for B. They think it's true and false. Let's have a look, shall we? Well done. Yeah. Venetia and Drew and Thomas and others have all said B. So well done. I think that's probably the best scoring answer on this set of MCQs. And as Izzy's pointed out, vertical integration involves acquiring another business in the same supply chain, and it can be upwards or backwards. So let's say, for example, a retailer buys a wholesaler or a supplier. That's at a different stage of the supply chain. That would be vertical integration. So that's right. The sale of assets, though, is not external finance. Sale of assets is one of the few sources of internal finance.
Yeah.
The point about sale of assets is you can only do it once, obviously. So it could be maybe some sale of some spare land or some spare machinery. The other main method of internal finance is retained profits, which, as Graham mentioned, is part of total equity or shareholders' funds.
Yeah. I think sometimes students get confused with sale of assets because I think, well, the money's coming from an external source. So you sell an asset, someone outside the business buys it, but you're raising the finance from an internal asset. So that's why
the point. Yeah.
That's the point. That's the point.
Well done. Oh, should we time for a calculation? I think we did well on the MCQs. Let's raise the game now. We did a calculation special last night. I don't know whether you joined us for that, where we did 2 of the 3 methods of investment appraisal, leaving this one, G, for today.
Yeah, so a business is considering a £250,000 investment. We've got the net cash flows there over the 3 years, and we have the discount factors. Can you work out the net present value of the proposed investment? Should we start the music, Jim?
Let's go.
Oh, we're back to the time was running out.
We are.
We did music yesterday, did we?
No, I like to mix it up a bit. It always amazes how many people get an answer into the live chat within the 60 seconds of the funky music and the clock. Don't forget, calculations, you've got 3 or 4 minutes minimum. So, but well done if you can save a few minutes.
It always upsets me in a few weeks. When the live streams end, when the exams finish, and we have to park that music, and we don't get it back out again till October.
Yeah.
For the new year 12.
You can't take it with you to the beach, Graham, if you want.
Yeah, I could do. So basically, you've got the net cash flows there. Now, I've never seen this examined before at Edexcel, but you may have to work out the net cash flows, which is cash inflows minus cash outflows. I've never seen that before. So I think a lot of students have got the right answer. All you would do is multiply each net cash flow by the discount factor, add them up, take away the cost of the investment, and I think we should have 2,768.50. So everyone got that. That's great work. And it's only method of investment appraisal that gives a definitive answer, isn't it? Because this considers the time value of money across the total investment.
The basic rule with net present value is if it's positive, if you add up all the discounted cash flows, including the negative at the start, so the investment will always be discount factor 1, always be negative. If it's positive at the end of it all, normally the rule is you should accept the investment. You should proceed. If it's negative, then it means the future value of cash flows aren't sufficient to match the investment. So you should normally not. But I think the other point about investment appraisal, which we mentioned briefly last night, but it's particularly the case with net present value, is that you've got to, sometimes you get a chance to question the assumptions. So we don't know whether the net cash flows in year 3 will be £300,000. It's hard to forecast what they're going to be. So always make the point, if it's relevant, that net cash flows and forecasts of investment are estimates.
Yeah, especially if the business is operating in a dynamic market, in a growing market where that might attract new entrants. Who knows what might happen in 3 years? The net cash flows could be far lower. It could be far greater.
Making a good point. Couldn't we technically work out ARR and payback with that information? Absolutely, yes, you could. You just ignore the discount factor.
Of course you could.
Yeah, so you could work out payback, couldn't you? And looking at payback, it doesn't happen in year 1 because we're left 100,000 to pay back after year 1, but it does happen halfway through year 2. So I would say that is.
Should we work it out? Shall I work
6 months.
it out?
You're doing the ARR.
I'm working out the.
So payback is 1 year and 6 months. So with payback,
you did it all in your head. You've got 2 brains. So I need a calculator. I used to teach level maths.
650 less 250, so that's 400,000 over 3 years, and then divide that by 250 after dividing by 3. So
I've got a number.
But yes, you can.
Yes, perfect. Okay.
Well done on that one. So if MPV comes up, that would be a nice one to do. I think generally students do better on MPV than they do on ARR and payback. Generally, not always the case. Right. Time for some application.
Always this. No, it's this one's. Give me 2. Different. This one.
Oh, right. Okay.
Very quick fire revision. So we're going to spin the wheel, and you have to give me 2 of whatever it lands on.
Who's going to be first
So-
in the live chat to give Graham 2? Oh, let's spin the
I'm so
wheel, shall we?
excited
First?
'cause I've got no idea where it's going to land on. Oh wow! Methods of improving quality. So,
I think there's quite a few mentioned on the spec, aren't there?
oh, there's I think there's the 4, and 1 has never been examined as yet. Doesn't mean it will be examined. Someone got really excited and went, such a seasoning time. Unfortunately, Voltage, not this time. But it's just give me 2. I'm sorry to disappoint you. But we've just gone for give me 2.
So there's lots of answers coming in. Venetia's gone for quality assurance, quality control. So has
Yeah,
Finley. So has Tom. Oh, loads of answers flying in here. But Eloise has gone for something a bit different.
Are there any others apart from those what you've mentioned? Though there's one particularly that's never been not been examined yet. Doesn't mean it will be, but it could be.
TQM. Wait a minute. Aiden's on fire. I think we found them all.
Quality circles never been examined yet. Quality circles has never ever come up. Well done, Aiden. Well done.
Well, Aiden wasn't the only one. Zach and lots of others. Yeah.
Zach said that as well. So let's just reveal the answers. Those are the ones on the spec. Quality circles, are the ones never been examined. Doesn't mean it will be, but exams tomorrow. If you're not familiar with that, just make yourself familiar. It's a simple concept.
Yeah, Kaizen's been mentioned. Kaizen is a form of quality assurance. In fact, so too is TQM.
Continuous improvement.
Yeah.
Great
All
stuff.
good.
Should we look at the next one?
Let's spin it again, shall we? What happens if it lands on quality again? What are you going to do?
It can't because it's been grayed out. It's impossible.
Okay, right.
Alfie, is it worth being here for AQA? Well, you've been here for 20 minutes and we've got about 10 minutes left, so I would just stick with it. So, benefits of a takeover. So, takeovers, not examined last year, a very, very frequent. Best at asking what are quality circles. We'll just cover that again in a second. So, what are the benefits of a takeover, which is a method of inorganic growth? The specification is very clear. So Dan, entrance into new markets, economies of scale. Aiden, access new markets. Market power is a great one. Market power, buyer power, economies of scale, purchasing economies of scale. Adam there, increase our brand strength. Beautiful stuff here. Beautiful. Very good. Jordan, gain more information on the market. And also, that's a really good point also, isn't it? If you're taking over another business, then you get access to all that information. Also, you remove the competitor, aren't you, as well, effectively? So you are going to increase market share. Reduce the competition. Lord Summilton there. Yeah, reduce the competition. Brilliant stuff. Should we reveal the answers? So we just went for everything everyone said. Hanan, can we bring Hanan up there? Hanan, can you bring that one up, Jim? Can you see that one?
I'll have a look. Lots of answers coming in.
It's acquiring into IP. That's a great answer. That's really, really good. That's really insightful. So when you take over another business, you obviously get access to their IP, their copyright, their patents, everything. That's a really, really good answer. That's a really good answer. Well done. Great stuff.
Particularly if the IP in question is a barrier to entry, then that's one way of getting around the barrier to entry, isn't it? Go buy the business with the IP.
Can we bring up Gaming Star's question there? So economies of scale, there's technical, managerial and purchasing really, but so there's lots of different types of economy of scale. I would prefer purchasing economies of scale. So as a business gets bigger, it has a potential to have greater buyer power. That's Porter. It can therefore put pressure on its suppliers to perhaps negotiate cheaper prices and therefore benefit from purchasing economies. Like lots of questions coming there. What are quality circles? Well, a quality circle is where a group of people from the business meet regularly. Could be weekly, could be monthly, could be fortnightly, to discuss quality. Now, they don't have to sit in a circle. Really, they can sit however they want. But ultimately, it's classed as a quality circle. These people get together to discuss quality. Now, obviously, that can improve quality. You get people from different sides of the business. However,
different departments. Yeah.
It can reduce labour productivity. While they're removed from their normal work. So that is what quality circles are.
Yeah, quality circles. I've come across them in my former work. It was all about finding solutions. So it's very closely linked to quality assurance. Can you find a process, something that you can introduce, which means that you can rely on quality being better? So often you bring in people from different functions. You might bring in somebody from the marketing department who's found an issue with something or found a solution that's an issue in production, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and Lauren's point there, it is a focus group really for quality. Yeah, that's a great way of putting
I love
it.
that.
Really.
It's a great way of putting it, isn't it?
That's a great way of putting it, Lauren. Well done.
So good. We'll stick it on the screen.
It is that really. It is that. Can't argue with that.
Right, good stuff. We've done 2 spinners. I think we're done. Should we do a mini case study now, Graham, just to finish off with?
Yeah. So Alpro specialise in plant-based products such as milk and yogurt made from almonds, rice, oats, and coconut. Now, they are market leaders with around 6% market share, but in terms of the dairy alternative milk market, so non-dairy milk, they have an 85% market share, which is one of the fastest growing categories in supermarkets. Now, despite the likes of Tesco introducing their own range of dairy-free milk. So basically, what we're saying here is that dairy-free milk, Alpro has 85% market share. It's a very fast-growing category. That has resulted in the likes of Tesco launching their own dairy-free milk. So this question was examined a few times, and it's one where students have traditionally struggled. So one benefit, one downside to Alpro of a more competitive environment. So basically what we're seeing is we're seeing a lot of new entrants entering the non-dairy milk market, such as Tesco, Sainsbury's, Morrison's, as they're launching their own range of non-dairy milk. How might that affect Alpro, which is the market leader? So the market's becoming more competitive. How might that affect Alpro? So one benefit, one downside. This is a great question. Are you a fan of non-dairy milk, Jim?
I am actually. Yeah, I had an oat milk hot chocolate last night out of the patio.
Was it nice?
Absolutely beautiful. I like the taste. I think it tastes better than milk.
Oh yes, that's great.
Particularly vanilla flavoured oat milk.
No, yeah. Be careful of that one.
No, big fan of it. Big fan of it, and it's good for sticking protein powder and all that kind of stuff in there. So
Yaz there saying it could lead to innovation. Couldn't they? May have to innovate.
Yep.
In order to respond to the increasing competition. That's a really good one. Bale in there, loss of market share.
Let's stick some of these on screen, G, as they're coming in. Thanks for typing them in.
Yeah, it's a really good point there. Yeah, it could be loss of market share. People switch from Alpro to own branded supermarket non-dairy milk. Price wars is a really good one. Now Bertie Shepherd there.
I'll stick. There's Bethan's answer price wars. Let's stick Bertie on.
Yeah, Bertie's is a great one there. They may have to reduce their price to make themselves more competitive. Or now that differentiation, well, that's a difficult one, isn't it? Because they already are slightly differentiated under the market leader. But it's a great point. Well done, Bertie. Well done. Magic Car Command, not seeing any advantages here. Well, there have been a few innovation. May decide to innovate them further, maybe increasing their product range, maybe more flavors, different flavors of non-dairy milk.
Sophie's definitely been to Grey Booster with some fantastic, such as seasoning in there, using words of the industry in the point.
Perfect.
Which I know would make you particularly pleased, G.
It's great stuff, isn't it? When you see students using the techniques we go on about. So downsides,
I think that's a great point from Douglas, which is they say imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, don't they? And the supermarket own brands, mentioning no names, but for example, such as Aldi and Tesco's, particularly Aldi, are renowned for being inspired by. Is that that way to describe it, G? Being inspired by successful brands and creating their own version of similar products, and that's the issue, isn't it? As a branded food product, it's hard to hide. They can soon get their hands on it.
Yeah, I'm expecting to see a tutor for me calculation book in Aldi very shortly. So
should we go through a couple of answers? Well done for those.
Yeah. Now, so if we look at the plus and the minus here, now actually, as the market's growing and more businesses supply non-dairy milk, it could actually lead to more choice. Yeah. More plant-based consumers to the market, and that could actually lead to more sales. If you think about it, if you're going to the supermarket, you see a lot more non-dairy milk. You might try the Tesco own brand to try it and see you might like it, but then maybe switch later to a more luxury branded product. So so that could lead to increased profits, which you could use to invest in new plant-based products such as plant-based chocolate bars. So it could actually drive more traffic to Alpro. That's a
That
potential.
would be a brand extension, wouldn't it? Moving from plant-based milk to plant-based chocolate bars.
Yeah. Just going to invest their money in, but also, customers may become more price sensitive. So, as someone who drinks a lot of non-dairy milk, when I go to the supermarket, I can either pay £3 for Alpro, or I can pay 90p for the own branded.
Is that the difference? Really?
That's it. So I've just bought some Alpro non-dairy milk this morning. It was £3.60 at my
Wow.
corner shop. Now, obviously, they don't do their own brand, but Asda's is about 95p. So that is a huge difference. Now, they may have to reduce their price.
Yeah.
And especially as you would argue, Jim, that Alpro is probably price inelastic. Reducing the price would lead to a significant fall in sales revenue. So, and obviously, if this was an assessed question, you'd have to have a judgment. But yeah, great answers, everyone. Great answers.
Yeah, well done. Now, we said we want to do maybe just a few minutes, just a quick reminder of structure of paper 2G. Do you want to take us through this? And then we'll close our session.
Yeah. So very similar to paper 1, identical really, apart from it draws on themes 2 and 3. You're going to get 2 sections. There'll be 2 4-mark questions, a 10, a 12, and a 20 each section. That's how it's structured. 100 marks, 2 hours. So if you move on to the next slide, please, Jim.
So each of those sections has a different set of extracts, isn't it? Different set of
different set of extracts. Different set of extracts. Normally, not always. The first half of the paper will be theme 2. The second half will be theme 3, but it doesn't always work like that.
No.
So 4-mark questions could be construct or calculate. If it's explain, 4 marks, 1 mark knowledge, 2 marks application, 1 mark analysis. You must ensure you've got 2 different pieces of application, either drawn from the extract or your own knowledge of the industry or market. Calculate questions, make sure you write down the formula. If you don't know the formula, write definition. Always show you're working out. 10 and 12 mark questions, a balance is needed. You've got to include a judgment, but your judgment should build on what you've already said and then go beyond that and add something new. You've got to add value to your judgment. So 10 and 12 mark questions, balance, for and against, opposing points, write a judgment at the end that builds on what you've said and then adds something new. And then I think we've got just a little bit on the 20 markers here. So, evaluate both options and recommend one, for and against each option. Then a recommendation. Your recommendation has to be quite thorough. It is far more than a simple judgment or conclusion. Make sure you add value. MOPS is one way of doing that. It's not essential, but it's a good technique. MOPS, so, is your decision influenced by the market, the objectives, the products or services, or the situation, the business? Find yourself in. So Ned there's saying, should we do the 20 markers first? No, you shouldn't. Because last year, there was earlier questions which you could have used in your 20-mark answer that would have increased your application marks. I wouldn't recommend that, Jim, to be fair. I would recommend that there. So should you use let's go back to the screen here and come back to the detail. Do you want to pick out the questions as they're coming in? Yeah, there was
one that Dan's asked, which a number of people have asked about the 20-mark questions and the balance of arguments there.
Yeah, you've got to go through. You've got to evaluate both options. So basically, for and against each option, and then come to a recommendation. Be decisive. It tells you to recommend one, and then justify why. Evaluate both, for and against each. Recommend one. Yeah.
Question coming in about the 10 markers.
Would you put a however sentence that you Brompton bikes? You can do what you want. Yes, that's absolutely fine. But if you think about it, balance can come from opposing points. So if you get a question such as assess the impact of interest rate increase on Aldi, a positive effect, a negative effect, and then a judgment is all you would need. Of course, you can put however points at the end of each argument. That's fine, but you wouldn't need to if both your paragraphs are opposing.
Question coming from Ned about this idea. A number of people have asked this about when it asks for consequences. They can be both positive and negative, shouldn't they?
Yeah. If it says assess a consequence of something, then you'd have to give a positive consequence and a negative consequence in order to get balance. You'd have to do that. So,
great question coming in from Lauren about the difference between the 10 and the 12s.
2 marks.
Exactly.
However, There is something in the level 4 descriptor which is wide ranging. There's one more mark for analysis. There's one more mark for evaluation. We would expect your analysis to be slightly more developed and your evaluation to be slightly more developed. It's not an extra paragraph, just an extra mark for analysis and an extra mark for evaluation.
Good question coming in from Berlin about so the order of addressing the extract are given context. I often find that it's easier to start with the questions and then go back to the extract because then you know what you're looking for.
Yeah, I was doing some stuff with some students last week, and then basically read the questions first, then pick out the points in the extract. You have to do that.
Just saves time, doesn't it? And also you're looking at the extract in context.
Empty and Graham, to your mark papers. I can't divulge whether I do or not. Impact. So yeah, if you know what, Somto there. Can we bring Somtos up there?
Yeah.
And any assess question, 10 or 12, they all have to have balance. You've got to have opposing points. So if it says assess the impact, you've got to have a positive impact or a negative impact. That's the rule. So you have to do that. You have to have balance. Assess the value, why it's a value, why it's not a value. Assess the impact, positive impact, negative impact. That's how you have to do that. Remember, Tom, consequences can be positive or negative, can't they? Yeah. So,
consequences. Yeah.
Lots of anti-Sunderland comments here, but we're going to keep focus on paper 2. Should you do each questions from Shadow Angel? Can you bring Shadow Angels up there? Should you do each questions and pick out stuff the extract? I would read the questions first. Really, that's what I would do. How would you recommend we structure a 10 or 12? Points for and against, then a judgment that adds value to what you've already said, builds on what you've said, goes beyond that, and adds value.
Another question about the 10 markers if you miss out the second point, which hopefully you wouldn't.
How many marks would I receive for skipping out a second point on a 10 marker? So 1 paragraph and a conclusion.
Yeah.
You're only answering half the question, really, so it's impossible to say to one. My advice would be is, and it's going to sound really obvious, don't. Time management, make sure there's more than enough time on the papers. There's more than enough time. Shadow Angel, thanks for your feedback. We loved Birmingham too, didn't we, Jim? We loved Birmingham. It was great.
Good fun. That's time's up, Jake. We've come to the end of our time, and I know that quite a few students are now closing their laptops or their iPhones or tablets and on their way to do A-level economics this afternoon. So good luck if you're doing A-level economics, and if you've just joined us after finishing A-level sociology, well done for doing sociology this morning. So don't forget to go back into those live stream recordings if you want a bit more help on things like PED and YED, and in particularly investment appraisal, where we did our deep dive. That's the one where Graham's dressed up as a deep sea diver, and somebody else who looks a bit like me also next to him. Go through those. We've done lots and lots of calculation practice and other stuff over the last few days and weeks. So if that's useful, have a dive into that. But we wish you all the best for paper 2. We are back. A number of people asking about paper 3. We do a lot of live streams for paper 3, so but not straight away because you've got a deserved break for a week or 2.
Off term,
so we'll be back.
Oh, yes. Yeah, it's good to see Ned saying I won some flashcards. There was just going off in a tangent. There was a lot of students saying, anyone going to Park Life here? I am. Heaton Park. I'm there. I'm at Heaton Park. If you see me, I am. I'll be taller than everyone else. Come and say hello because I will be at Park Life. I will be there with my kids. When's the paper 1 exam? Yeah. Great question. So, I just thank you so much. Up the tomb. Yeah, that's one way I'd put it. So thank you so much for taking your time out of your busy day to thoughts on Sunderland at Wembley. Well, we're at Wembley, aren't we? Coventry can't say that. We can. But, let's stick to the point. Thank you so much for joining. How tall am I? I'm 6'5". Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it, don't we, Jim?
Absolutely.
We really, really appreciate it. Good luck tomorrow, and we'll see you in a live stream for paper 3.
Indeed.
In the next few weeks.
Yeah, Cheers. Go well. All the best.